Hey, what's up, guys? So this, I guess, is the beginning of making content for Path of Exile 2. Been kind of taking some time recently thinking about how I want to approach this, because I really want to do this right and in my own way, and that's going to be a lot of just talking from my perspective and not trying to fulfill the algorithm and clickbait and all that type of stuff. I just tried it in the past, and it does not spark joy. It's not what I want to do. I just want to talk to you guys about a game that I love and share the things, my thoughts about it and what I think is cool about it and, teach stuff and have fun along the way. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is my playthrough at the playtest that GGG did a couple weeks ago. It was under embargo until a couple days ago, and we actually had to edit the footage, send it over, and Jonathan was personally reviewing all of it. So this is Jonathan Rogers approved footage. The unique thing here is I am one of the only, if not the actual only content creator that has now played Path of Exile 2 all the way from ExileCon, the most recent one. I don't know when that was, a year and a half ago. I've been to every single playtest, including the most recent one. And in fact, the only other PoE content creators that I know were at the last playtest were me, MP Havoc, Big Ducks, and then, some ARPG people, like Darth Microtransaction, but no, like, pure PoE people. So that's all of us that were there. I think I have kind of a unique perspective here in that I've played all the playtests. I've seen it from ExileCon where I was like, oh, I don't know if this game is going to be what I want it to be. I was kind of scared at ExileCon. It was very overtuned, we'll say. It was very a rougher state. They were figuring things out. I can very honestly and genuinely say after this most recent playtest, I am quite excited for PoE 2. However, I'm not going to glaze it. I'm not going to hide the things that I think I'm a little worried about. I am not like 100% think this is going to be a perfect game. I think there's a lot of stuff that PoE 1 offers that this one is trying to diverge from, and I am going to try to call that out. Maybe not all that much in this video, but I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts and concerns. So yeah, anyway, long intro long. Let's just get right into it, and I'll start talking about what my thoughts are as I go through the playtest. What I'm gonna be doing in this video is talking over some parts, kind of pausing it, pointing some things out, and then kind of just letting the gameplay play. Like I'll take the camera off the screen, let the gameplay play for a couple minutes. You can kind of just immerse yourself. So yeah, let's get started. And hopefully the volume levels and everything are good. So going into this playtest, we can see that we have Sorc, Warrior, Ranger, Witch, Mercenary, and Monk. These are the classes that are going to be coming out on December 6th. And I had previously played all of the other classes except for the Mercenary. This is the first time I've had a chance to play the Mercenary. There's a quick little intro animation here kind of showing the general idea of how the character works. And I just want to give it a shot. And in fact, we're going to try to save some time here. Everyone's seen that animation. We're not going to let that play again. So the first skill that you get is the fragmentation rounds. It's just a default shot. Let it play a little bit here. This is my first time playing. This is your AoE skill that you kind of start with. So you get a basic shot, which is right there, my basic bolt. The big thing about the Mercenary is he has multiple skills that have ammo, and they all have their individual magazines that you have to switch between them and reload them. I'm sure there's plenty of ways, and I know on the passive tree, we have seen that there are ways to save bullets when you're shooting. Maybe the big thing that I would like, I don't know if that's in the game already, is the ability, you can see that the aim is a little, the name locking with the aiming is a little awkward. The thing that I noticed, and I'll talk about like one of the cons already with the Mercenary for me, was I had to switch between things and reload. And with that reload time, when you're fighting like a certain set of monsters, right? Or like one pack of monsters, you can empty both magazines, but then the time to switch between them and then reload, you're not gonna be switching between it, at least early on. Like, I've seen, the more advanced gameplay later where they can kind of like reload each other and all that. But at least early on, a big pain point for me was, and every character starts weak, right? But, you can unload one magazine, switch to the other one, and then you're just going to stick to your one, right? Because switching between them, waiting for the reload again, switching back, like, that's just very inefficient. But this is the gameplay. He walks around and shoots. You got your fragmentation rounds, that is your AoE. I did find the AoE, at least early on, not very effective. It has a little bit of a built-in pierce there. I skipped that, so I killed him. I didn't get any loot from him. The key here is I want to show you guys the early experience with the Mercenary, and maybe this will get tweaked a little bit by the by the time that December 6th happens. And I kind of push it a little bit irresponsibly here. I purposely bring a lot of monsters because one of my favorite things in RPGs, you know, I'm a OG World of Warcraft mage type of player. I just want to group up a bunch of monsters and then, you know, cast Blizzard or whatever and blow everything up. And then you can see kind of, also I did get a cold skill right here. So I got a cold shot. I'm trying to freeze them, trying to like shatter them, do some AoE, and just trying to demonstrate here what the, you know, what the experience is with these early skills. At least what you're gonna expect. No, like I said, I'm not trying to glaze up things that they're demonstrate things how they aren't. Don't worry, there's a lot of contrast in this video a little bit later on. So anyway, that's the pack of monsters there, and then the first boss that you fight here is the Devourer. It's within these the tunnels. And you can kind of see the experience reloading your different magazines over and over again and switching between them. So that was like a couple minute time skip, and you can see he's not dead yet. This is literally what I did. I was just like, this ain't for me. I'm out. So I did see gameplay of both Havoc and MP playing the Mercenary later on. They stuck to it and they found combinations of it, and Big Ducks too. All three of them played Mercenary, and they all had a good time with it. But you know, that's just what you're going to experience. Anyway, Sorc. I'm, like I said, I'm a mage, Sorc, wizard, whatever you want to do. You know, elemental, temporal magic. That's my thing. Arcane magic. It's always my favorite class in every game. And oh yeah, wait for this one. Anyway, the first time that I played Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon, Sorc was so poorly balanced and so underpowered. Actually, at least the first and second, if not third time, Sorc always felt really bad. And that was basically my metric for, am I going to like this game? Like, can they do a magic caster properly? Well, this happened. Right off the beach, the very first boss that I killed gave me a +2 level of cold spell skill gems, 47% increased cold damage, and level 2 freezing shards right here. Yeah, you'll just see the difference between the Mercenary and this. Now, kind of a concern that I have is the reliance on gear here, because I can't actually attribute how strong I felt in this playtest versus the last one on Sorc. I can't separate it too much because I didn't have this crazy gear when I was doing the previous playtest. But I can tell you, if you get good gear, at least on a Sorc, if you get a good staff, things will feel really good. So yeah, this is just watch his life bar.
I need more time. Not yet.
Did a little spin of joy, had a little fun there, and yeah, that's just with that starting staff, that is the difference in power there. When that happened and I saw how strong I was just like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm kind of seeing it here. And this is the next boss in the next zone too. Just to confirm that it wasn't a fluke. Just wait for the shatter. Yeah, so I was very excited. I was very encouraged. I want to call just special attention just how much detail there is to like the physics effects of all the shattering. I'll turn up the audio during some of the fighting a little bit later on. Just the freezing shards going through the flame wall, seeing them lit up and all that, igniting the monsters. The effects are like almost a little too subtle, but it adds a lot of style to it. And I think it's really nice instead of like the Path of Exile 1, like insane flashiness. So yeah, they added a lot of new support gems, and I think that this is really going to be what differentiates Path of Exile 2 as... The thing about support gems in Path of Exile 1 is they very often trend, or are picked at least, towards the more... what gives me more damage, right? Like we have some that are a little bit more utility focused. You can do something like Fortify, where you kind of have like a hybrid offense and defense, or you have something like Inspiration, where maybe you're kind of mitigating some mana cost. There are some like interesting upsides in addition to damage, but a lot of the time you're just saying, how do I take the highest damage support gems that I can while not taking too many downsides or getting as much, a little side utility in addition to that. That's what we see a lot of the time in Path of Exile 1. And kind of a cool thing, actually not kind of a cool thing, I think one of the most interesting things about Path of Exile 2, and we're gonna see how this plays out, is the forced single support gem. So for example, faster casting right here. If I take a faster casting, I can only have one of those on one of my skills. And because of this, I have to be very intentional in what I use that for. I really don't think it's going to feel like Generator Spender. It's not going to be like a Diablo 4 snooze fest. It's not Generator Spender. It's utility, single target, multi-target, utility mobility. And that's like the way that you want to think about it. So I end up using quite a few different skills in my damage rotation. It's going to be more about evaluating the threat and the positioning and the way that everything's happening. And that's how I'm going to be using my different skills dynamically in combat. And for example, Fortress right here. This is one of the cool support gems that it actually makes your Flame Wall summon, or anything else like Ice Wall as well, summon in a circle. So you can use this to encircle enemies, encircle yourself, encircle an ally, and then like we'll see this later on when I'm playing with MP. I am putting this around the monsters, and then MP is shooting as a mercenary through my flame wall and then boosting his shots. And there's a lot of interesting additional utility that you can get here through these support gems, instead of just, oh, I'm going to put elemental focus and control destruction on every single skill gem. Just to, even if you're using multiple damaging skills, you'd end up using, you'd use similar support gems. Instead, you have to be very intentional and thoughtful about how you're picking your support gems for your different utility skills. And at least the way that this played out, until like I've only gotten to the end of Act 2 so far in the playtests, but the way that it's played out, at least in this playtest, was I had a lot of fun playing around with the different support gems. As always, how it works out in an end game, we'll see. Really, really cool thing. So freeze in this game is incredibly, again, everything through the context of only playing through the first 2 acts, but freeze in this game is incredibly powerful, as you've already seen. It works on bosses. You can build up freeze on them, and then there's a lot of stuff building around shattering frozen monsters. Just having something to freeze monsters. It doesn't have to be like a builder, right? It's not resource generation, because mana honestly was basically never an issue for me. That was not a problem whatsoever. It's really just about what utility am I trying to navigate or utilize as I'm doing some combat. Things like glaciation right here were actually very interesting. So this one's really cool. Hey, free chilled ground whenever you freeze an enemy. So, again, additional utility that you can put between your different skills, like drop a frost bomb and have that doing some additional utility right here. That's unique that I got. When you block an enemy, you permanently intimidate them. Not for my build. This is just showing me selling some different things. I'm just trying out like, hey, what do I sell? What, demonstrating what I get for different currency for the disenchanting. And I'm not control clicking there just because I'm like trying to feel things out slowly one by one. All right, so I did not mouse over all of these. You can see the scroll bar. There are a lot of support gems, and a good chunk of these say coming soon as well. There are so many. There's going to be a lot of differentiation and potential for, one of my favorite things in Path of Exile 1 has always been customize your build for yourself. Like, hey, people ask me, hey, should I use Steel Skin on automation or cast some damage taken? Even little things like that, you can customize them in a way that fits your playstyle. All right, like if you're in hardcore and you got to play really intentionally and slowly around your cooldowns, cast some damage taken, or even manually casting it is the play. If you're in softcore and you're running 1 billion miles an hour, automation for your Steel Skin could be fine. Like, it's not a bad choice, but it could be fine. And I think that type of decision making, and like there's a lot of conversation about like, from the hardcore solo self-found racing perspective, like this is always the right play. But there are, inefficient methods of play that could be, turn your brain off even more and you get your Netflix on. And I think that you can customize your builds in Path of Exile 2. They're giving you more tools to do this. This is a new skill called Ember Fusillade. Unfortunately, I was with my gearing, I was like really pushed into cold skills, but I kind of wish I went into fire because some of these fire skills they're beautiful and really cool. I'll turn it up a little bit for you. But as you can see, my cold is just so strong. But oh my god, the animation is just gorgeous. Like
Now don't move.
walking around and self-casting Ice Nova, you're gonna see a lot of that. It just ended up being the strongest tool, unfortunately, for me a lot of the time. Here's another boss, just showing how strong I am. This is about halfway through Act 1.
Let me teach you the power of the Eternals, Marraketh fiend.
But yeah, like the anime, I don't know. This is clearly a fidelity upgrade, a huge fidelity upgrade over Path of Exile 1.
To me, Draven.
Freeze is so strong. So you can see in the upper left corner, building up the freeze. See those debuffs right there. We also now have the damage numbers. I can go back a little bit. You can see the damage numbers up here. You can see their weaknesses and strengths right here. Debuffs, and then the damage numbers, just like Dark Souls. Which is pretty cool.
Take your necromancy to the grave where it belongs.
Here's me kind of mousing over a couple things in the passive tree. Didn't see anything crazy. I didn't explore everything in the passive tree. I didn't have a ton of time. I wanted to I was balancing like playing the game, chatting with Octavian and Jonathan, chatting with the other streamers, and God, I wish I could have played more. I could have explored more, but I wanted to do a little bit of everything while I was there. Yeah, this one is really cool. Frozen Vortex. When you shatter an enemy, 30% of the overkill damage is done per second. It lasts 3 seconds. So you basically get 90% of the overkill damage that you do as damage over 3 seconds total, which is pretty cool. I don't think I was doing that much. So the cool thing with Cold Snap, rather. So Cold Snap is a skill that shatters. So kind of like the rotation that you can do here is I end at Frostbolt, so you can do Ice Nova. You can cast your Ice Nova on Frostbolt by default. I just found my Frostbolt was going too fast, like casting too many skills, just that got a little bit too much. But what I ended up doing was dropping Frostbomb when necessary, casting Ice Nova, freezing, and then Cold Snap will shatter a frozen enemy for damage. And then you can link that with Frozen Vortex, so that shatter overkill damage will then put like a nice strong vortex on the ground. Ended up being a pretty cool combo. Unleash is about the same as it was in PoE 1. This is to demonstrate a little bit more. So, Frostbomb on the ground, casting Ice Nova, and then Cold Snap to shatter them. And showing how dangerous zones can be really quickly. You can start getting stunned.
Not yet.
You do have to be pretty intentional about just charging forward. Here we go. Here's Veriketh, aka Candlemass, I guess. Same monster from PoE 1 with a different name. So as you can see, my damage is not as much. I believe I still have the same staff from the beach. So with all that said, it's just that same staff, no additional damage items or anything. And this is probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through Act 1. Probably 3/4. I think this is almost the last zone.
It seems corruption takes on many forms.
All right, so I didn't want to go. This boss fight takes a little bit. This is the final boss of Act 1. Got an Exalted Orb.
I'm carrying enough
Show
already.
the new item that I got. I finally did upgrade my staff. Level 5 freezing shards. I actually I edited this. I spent a lot of time, like a solid 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes, trying to compare the damage numbers between all my different skills. So the interesting thing here is I lose the +2 cold skill gems, and I gain level 5 freezing shards as well as some freeze buildup, which is nice. I actually end up taking this. But you can see you have your DPS numbers right here, which are... So I was originally looking down in the lower right corner in PoE 1, but these tooltips, I hope they build these out a little bit. I think they're trying to simplify it, but when you mouse over your skills in the lower right corner, it shows nothing. It just says the name. There's no data whatsoever. I think they want everything to kind of be in this skill gems, like kind of kept over in the corner here in the skill gems panel. And there's a rough DPS estimate. Again, because you're comboing so many things, it's not going to be accurate whatsoever. But you can see these DPS numbers changing as I'm changing my weapons around. And I keep trying to mouse over here to like see if anything changes, but it actually, the tooltip doesn't change when you change your items. I think that's just the base gem tooltip. So here's, I believe, the first boss fight in Act 2. There's my frostbolts flying in, trying to clear some of the ads. This fight ends up taking a while. So yeah, this is, you know, if we're going to talk about some of the cons, at least for the Sorceress gameplay, there wasn't that much I can do. If we think about the tools that I have, and I went into all of the cast speed that I could. I had faster casting. I took all of the cast speed nodes on the passive tree. If any gear gave me any cast speed, I would take it. So the problem with this fight is if you go above this line up here, there's a bunch of hyenas standing on a cliff that will just shoot arrows at you. So you're stuck in this little triangular arena. You really can't go up here. And periodically, the boss will just, if you walk away from him, he'll do multiple slams. He'll do a charge attack at you. Like his scariest, I guess I'm spoiling the boss fight so spoilers if you don't want to know how this boss fight works at the beginning of Act 2. But if you get too far away from him, he'll do a charge attack at you, or he'll do really big slams. And I actually don't have any tools that give me very good damage at range. Like I can cast Frostbolt with the Ice Nova and Frostbolt, but it's not like PoE 1. You know, later on, maybe if I get Unleash and Spell Echo or whatever, like maybe I can make this work. But if you cast one Frostbolt and then maybe I can get 2 Ice Novas and then 1 Frostbolt and 2 Ice Novas, I'd rather just cast 3 Ice Novas, right? Or even like 3.5 because the Frostbolt had a slow cast speed. Because of that cadence, it was actually way better for me to just stay close to him. Thing is, the way the fight works is I can't walk up here, like I said. And if I walk away from him, he'll do like really scary range stuff. And I'm kind of stuck in slow cast animations. And it's actually easier to just, you know, roll around him when you're really close. Also, he periodically spawns ads. And because the ads are not nonstop, but pretty frequent, I'm forced to almost nonstop just spam my Ice Nova. And this was a little bit of a concern. Like 100% could be build or skill issue. But, you know, I kind of felt a little pigeonholed into just, I didn't hate it, but I guess I cut this out because I didn't want to spoil the whole fight. But yeah, that's basically what the fight was. I just wanted to point that out. Conk effect. Oh yeah, I got Solar Orb, which was just a cool, you put a fire orb on the ground. It's very pretty and it does burning damage. Just kind of mousing over some of the support gems here. You can see a couple more support gems that we haven't seen yet. Move the camera, you can see a little bit more. So yeah, just leaving this for anyone that wants to comb through the video and just see everything I mouse over, go for it. So I'm going to let the rest of this play out. You can just watch some of the gameplay here as I finish up playing with Empy. Thanks for everything over the past few years. It's been really cool going through all of the discoveries and sharing cool stuff with you guys with PoE 1. And I'm excited to start a new chapter with y'all in PoE 2. Hope to see you guys there. Subscribe to the channel and all that if you want a little bit more. And I'll see you all soon. Have a good one. Bye.
There is power in this object. I can feel it. Not yet.
You'll burn, Marrakech scum! Burn, burn, burn!
Not yet.
Explode!